Hey, this is Austin Griffith, and I wanted to run through a dev update of my Ethereum game called Gallias. It's fully open source, it's fully decentralized, and I just did a big push with a bunch of stuff, and I kind of want to just cover some stuff, and the best way to do it is here. Gallias.io is the address, and right now it's just on Ropsten. And you can also go to any deployment that I've made on IPFS. So this is like the previous deployment here, and it's full of ships. I think there were 200 and some that came in and played in the last few months as I've been building up this new version. So just to demonstrate it, I'm going to run it locally, just because the blocks are a little faster. And what you see is your inventory over here on the right, your user information and network and block information. And the rest of the UI is pretty self-explanatory. So we just got a message here. Let's jump in and look at that. So this is the first message you get in the game. Salutations to your address. Welcome to Gallias, a charming hand-painted world filled with delightful anachronisms like blockchain in the age of sail. I am the humble fishmonger of this island, but my friends refer to me as, and his address, I purchase fish to sell as fillets to feed your growing population of citizens. If you would like to try your hand at fishing, purchase a dogger at the harbor. When you catch a fish, bring them to me at the fishmonger, and I will reward you handsomely with copper. All right, thanks, bro. So let's jump into it and let's do that. So the first purchase is like 0.001 Ethereum. You buy a dogger, which is a fishing boat, and we're going to use that to sail around. Now, a fishing boat is an ERC 721 contract. It has different metadata based on the citizen that constructed it. So it takes 2 timber to build a dogger, and then the dogger will have different speed and strength and stuff like that. So let's throw him in the water and let's go fishing. So the fish are ERC 20 contracts, and let's just sail to the right. So sailing is pretty cool because it's you send one transaction, and that basically says, hey, I'm at this place and now I'm sailing. So right now we're sailing on the blockchain where it was just a single little event, very cheap, and now it's going to sail indefinitely until we tell it to stop. And each time you see the ship move there, it's a block being mined, and I'm speeding it up. I think I have like 5-second blocks or something like that on my testnet. But okay, so let's throw our anchor down, which is another transaction. And transactions show up down here, and it'll be clearer to see those as we get into it a little farther. Okay, so now we're going to put out our bait. So the fishing mechanism is a commit reveal scheme, where you commit a hash of a hash, and then when you try to reel in, you use that hash, and that is hashed with the block number, and it generates randomness based on how far away you are from the fish, whether or not you catch the fish. So here we are, we're reeling in. Let's see what happens. Maybe. Well, it looks like no fish was caught, and it cost us 0.00112 each. So let's try again. Looks like we did not catch a fish. Looks like there's a catfish right there, so it seems like we should catch a fish. Come on. Okay, now reel in. Come on. There we go. Okay, so we got a catfish over here, and like the fishmonger said, we can go sell that to him. Sell that to the fishmonger for 5 copper. But let's talk about land for a little bit. So the land in Gallias is all procedurally generated based on the hash of the land contract plus when you make the transaction to generate the land. And if we look around here, we can see that the fishmonger's right over here, and there he is, and he's willing to buy our catfish for 5 copper. So let's just go ahead and sell that to him, and we'll get some copper for that, and then we can use the copper for other things. Like if we wanted to buy fillets from him, and so he generates fillets when we sell the fish to him. And the fillets are going to be used in a little bit for generating a citizen. So let's just keep fishing, keep this guy going. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and send myself some copper just to speed things up a little bit. Let me grab that command. I'm using my own orchestration software called Clevis, but there we go. Now we've got 5,000 copper, so we've got plenty of copper to work with. Normally, the main mechanic is the fishing, so let's just kind of scoot through this and see what we can do. So let's look at the map, and we see that there is just one piece of land where you can build a building, and let's buy that land, and let's buy the land around it too. So I'm purchasing each one of these for about 9 copper. Okay, buy the mountain and buy the grass. So we bought a grass tile, which was a tile where we can build stuff, but there's also this grass tile, which kind of alludes to the difference between these are resource tiles, these smaller ones, and these are like building tiles, these bigger ones. So from a resource tile, you can move citizens there to build certain things, but you can also basically extract resources, mine resources. So we can pick some greens, which I can explain a little bit, but let's pick some greens, and then from the rock, let's mine some stone, and then from the trees, let's chop some timber. So all these ERC20 tokens are going to start flowing in over here to our inventory. So what we need is actually a bunch of timber, because what we want to do is build a village here. And a village is what produces citizens. So if I go here to the market, there's actually a market for things using copper. And what I want to do is, let's just buy some timber to speed things up. I guess we're getting timber for less than that anyways, since we already own a timber tile. But this also demonstrates how the market works. Okay, so I think we're getting close where we have 3, 4. I don't know what happened with this transaction. There's one weird transaction there. Okay. We got to be real close to having 6 timber. There we go. We've got our 6 timber, so now we can go to the grass and we can build a village. So a village or a castle allows us to create citizens. And citizens are, they've got genes, kind of like CryptoKitties. They've also got a lot of stats, like their strength and dexterity and all those kind of those traits. Remember back in the Dungeons and Dragons days, you have all those different things. So what we're going to do is we're going to generate a citizen. Oh, we need more fillets. Okay, so we could catch some more fish. Let's see if the fish... Okay, the Fishmonger has a few more fillets. Let's buy some from him. So we're going to buy 2 more fillets. Hopefully... Well, we're not going to run out of copper. And you can see his inventory down there. So he could even run out of fillets. So what has to happen is basically the economy has to stay stable, with people coming in and catching fish for those fillets to be at the Fishmonger, for you to be able to buy them, for you to feed your citizens. So everything is really driven by people catching fish and selling them to the Fishmonger. Weird. We're getting some weird transactions here. Since I'm on a local net, I can't click on them, but normally you could click those and they'll take you to Etherscan and it'll tell you, what the error is or what's going on. They're getting hung up, and so I moved pretty quick with the development on this stuff, so I may have broken something recently. Check back in a week, huh? Okay, so let's see. So we have 3 fillets, so we can go here and we can generate a citizen from our excess food that we have. Then that citizen can be used to build things. So that was a green transaction. That's working. Okay, so now we have a citizen. So if we go to timber, we can see that it says move a citizen here to build a timber camp. And it's going to be tile 17 is where we need to move it. So if we click over here, we can bring up our citizens. And they're totally randomly generated based on their genetics. So again, I could use all the help I can get. If there's someone out there that likes to draw some citizens, the Photoshop file is right in the repo. Help me out. Like, I drew all these pretty goofy looking characters. Let's move him to tile 17. Okay, and that turned green. All right, now let's jump over to tile 17. Oh, we're still waiting for it to get there. Oh, yeah, there's something. So if I click on a land tile, now I can sell it. So I bought it for 9. Let's resell it for 18. Whoops. Uh-oh. MetaMask. And text messages. I'm not even sure what I just submitted there. Well, they went through. So now this land is probably for sale. Yeah, it is. Okay, so is the citizen there? Yes. Okay, so my citizen has moved to this forest research on this tile 17, and now I can spend 6 copper and turn my citizen into a lumberjack, and now this tile will start producing timber, more like the event system, like the sailing. Instead of me having to like make a transaction every time, now it's going to be based on block hashes. So oh man, that's crazy that I got one already, but that's perfect for a demo. All right, so what happens is the mined blocks have to be between a certain range. It's kind of like Settlers of Catan, where you would roll a certain amount and that would generate different resources for different tiles. So this resource tile, this timber, produces timber. This timber camp produces timber when the block hashes are within a certain range. And I can also still come in here and spend copper and get the timber. I can still sell the tile, or I can just kind of wait for that tile to produce that timber. And as it does, I can come in here now and then and click that and harvest it. And I think it can load up to like 6 or 8, or there's some arbitrary number I set it to, and that will be adjusted as the game develops. But now I'm basically generating timber without having to make all those transactions, which is going to be good sort of in the future, because like if I owned this harbor or something like this, there would be another button here I could purchase it, I guess. Let's do it. Okay, so I just bought the harbor. What that means is I can use this timber. Oh, we're going to need another one to do this. Let's do it the manual way. So again, there's this whole economy here where now I'm gonna, oh man, I got another one generated. This is working out for the demo. Okay, so now I can go to the harbor now that I own it, I think. Yeah, okay, so now there's this new button here that allows me to build a dogger. And it doesn't require a citizen yet. Like I said, we're moving fast with development here. The citizen is not required, but eventually you'll have a citizen here who will be a craftsman, a shipbuilder, and based on the citizen's, his or hers, there's not really that, his or hers abilities to build the ship, it will make the ship faster or more lucky or all sorts of cool things. So yeah, I think we just built a ship there, a dogger. So now other players who are coming in can get in and buy the dogger, just like we bought our first dogger. Just like, remember back to that IPS Fest version where there were hundreds of ships. You gotta, like, the person who owns the harbor needs to get in and build those ships to make them available for other players that want to get in and play. So what other cool things are there? I guess we could jump into the contracts for a second. So if you click this button here, actually, can I just go to, yeah, okay, contracts. So here are all the contracts. They're available at contracts.html at gallias.io, right? Let's just go to the main ones. Okay, so here are all the contracts. Open source, published to Etherscan, verified, all that stuff. Like if I go look at Timber or whatever, it's going to be, there's all the code. So the main Gallias contract is more of like an index of all the contracts that I have. And it's also using a predecessor system that I set up where as if I have to deploy, and I usually shouldn't have to deploy another main contract, but if I have to deploy another main contract, it basically is going to proxy any calls that you make to that main contract to the descendant. And so like since it holds an index of all the contracts, you could go to the old address and ask for the new stuff, and it will get proxied through, and it'll tell you about the new contracts. And that makes it just really nice for upgradability and stuff like that. So then when I, if I have to redeploy, so hopefully I don't have to redeploy a lot of these, like the citizens. Like I don't want to have to redeploy something, because then all those ships you saw in the old version, if I have to redeploy the citizens, then you're going to lose all your citizens. So I try to have, there's like a citizens lib, right? So there's like a library that has access to citizen storage, but the logic and everything is separate. So if I have to redeploy one of those, I just deploy that one contract, and then I go to the main Gallias contract, and I set like, hey, the citizens lib is now this, and then the contracts are set to make sure that they're the one that the main contract has set, so you couldn't use some depreciated contract to attack things. And again, I'm not an expert. This is like, I do this for fun on the side. There's probably all sorts of bugs in my contracts. Please check them out. I would love to get some feedback on those. They're all up on my GitHub. What else cool stuff? Okay, so crafting is really cool, right? Like the Dogger is an ERC 721 that has these certain properties, right? But to build the Dogger, you have to transfer 2 timber into the Dogger contract. So the Doggers hold all the timber for all the ships that exist, right? And then if like a ship gets destroyed, maybe the timber goes back into the environment somehow, like floats up, or whoever destroys them gets the timber. Like all the things are accounted for as you build things. So as the world gets bigger and bigger and the economy progresses, sort of all of the stuff is still built on lower level ERC 20 contracts. What else can we do? Oh, so like everything is on Ethereum. Everything is in a smart contract. So if I go look at, let's just go to Gallias.io. So if I go look at the main website, are we on Ropsten? I think we're still on the local. Yeah. Let's kick back over to Ropsten. So here's the live site. Please jump on, build a ship. Or buy a ship, go fishing. It's free, it's Ropsten. And the gas fees aren't even bad like they are on the mainnet. So go and build a ship. So, okay, so there's like clouds back in the background here, right? Everything here is hosted in a smart contract. So the clouds are just an event that I used. I triggered the sky contract to say, hey, like paint these clouds here and make them move at this speed each block, right? So as a block gets mined, you'll see my ships move, but also the clouds move, right? And the clouds are going to be in the same place for everyone who comes and visits it, because it's in a smart contract. There's no backend. The cool thing about that is then with the whole IPFS thing, like every time I make a new deployment, you can like continue on the one that I was building, or you can go to the new one. It's I love this. I love this technology. Okay, so what other cool things are here? So like in terms of like massive multiplayer, obviously we don't have the numbers building dApps as like normal web apps, but this is sort of only limited by the Ethereum network and like what I can display. When you saw the old IPFS version, you see like all these ships everywhere, right? It kind of almost gets a little too congested. So that's where this thing still needs to scale in terms of like playability. So the next big phase that I'm going to be working on is the harbor will sell you a galley, which will be like a seaworthy vessel. So this is just like the bay, right? And so what a seaworthy vessel does is it allows you to, if you go to the map here, travel from island to island. So if I go look at this island, so this is the current live one. There's like a small island, and then like a medium-sized island and another medium-sized island. That's represented right here. Small, medium, medium. So these are other islands, and we can see like this one's really big, right? So that like my next few weeks or few months of development is going to be about like getting galleys in here and letting you plot a course from island to island. And then when your ship gets to that other island, it's going to be about moving other ERC 721s back here. Like say there'll be a craftsman or like a craft shop there, and you'll be able to buy, say, a stone axe and then put that in your ship and move it back to the previous contract. So I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for checking it out. It's all open source. It's all online. I can use all the help I can get. Check out gallias.io, and thank you.